I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Hope you're all having a good day. Thank you for tuning in. What is today? It is Monday, March 3rd already, guys. It is Monday, March 3rd. Thank you for tuning in with us. Appreciate you for being here. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you got a lot of stuff done. Hope you're all caught up. We got some folks joining on here. Please share this out and hit that like button in whatever platform you are watching on. We do appreciate it. We had Cade, Texas. It's Monday. Hello, everyone. Trina says, hugs, Josh. Sugar Bear says, hello, Josh. Thank you guys for being in the chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today on show one, guys. A lot of stuff's been going on over the weekend since the White House meltdown of Zelensky. We covered that. Extensively. That was pretty epic what Trump and J.D. Vance did, putting you, the American person, first and saying, hey, guess what? Show a little thanks. We're not Ukraine's piggy bank. And so we got some more of that, kind of like where the woke left is on that. Also, more on what we've been covering for a couple weeks now when we talked about the Soros funding going to bring Democrats, put Democrats in these Republican town halls to act like they're Republicans. Trump even calls it out. We got some of that for you. We had some fun weather yesterday. It was hailing here. I'll show you a little video of that. It came down for about, 5-6 minutes. We got some decent amount of rain, which we always need here in the Central Valley. Oh, man, it didn't even show up. I hate Rumble. Did I tell you guys I hate Rumble Studios? I hate Rumble Studios. How about that? Now there we are. We can't see you, Josh. Well, at least you've been able to hear me, right? So we're going to talk about that and a lot of other things. And it's kind of the first of the month for us. So we're going to have a lot to cover. It was a long weekend out there. And again, even some of the polling of the fake news is just making Democrats look worse and worse. We have a poll that CNN did, I think at the end of February, the handling on the Russia-Ukraine war, Biden versus Trump. Trump is smoking them. But you won't see this if you listen to your average person. The talking points, the influencers from the Democrat side, if you'll call them that, you won't see any of that. You won't know any of that. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. It was nice to have a good weekend and get a lot of stuff done. We're all prepping for Caden's birthday for Saturday, so we're cleaning up around, pulling some weeds, doing all that spring cleaning. And when this rain comes, I'm telling you what, like it was 72 degrees last week, and then it rains. You got all the weeds, and as soon as that rain hits, they pop up like crazy, guys. Crazy. Yeah, Kimber, I seen that over the weekend. Maybe we'll cover that on the second show. The first show is pretty busy, so let's show you some of the hell that was coming down there. It didn't snow. It would have been nice if it snowed, but it didn't snow. We don't get snowed that often. Let me pull this up. Share screen. This is on our back patio. This is Caden's little player, and you can see the hell coming down. So we were outside checking that out. What was cool is afterwards, Caden got a monster truck tank for Christmas, and it is waterproof. So it did flood the streets a little because, again, we don't get a whole lot of rain ever. I mean, we get normal amounts of rain, but it flooded the streets. So we went and took the monster truck tank out. Now, I want to bring something up here. Democrats need all the help they can get right now. But where are they finding it? And will it help? I want you to listen to this. This is a video. How many remember Casey Anthony? Casey Anthony, the one that was charged with killing her daughter, never reported her missing, came up with some crazy story, all these things, was found not guilty. She kind of stayed out of the limelight for a while now. I want you to see this video she puts out. She's a women's rights LGBT activist. Take a listen.
Most of the time, they're not going to be short, but I sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact. So you will get very comfortable with my car. And I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country, especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
Man, standing up for women, huh? I bet. I bet many of her family members wish she would have stood up for her own daughter instead of what happened. There's a lot of lies in that, a lot of controversy. But hey, the LGBTQ got PTX, got another advocate right now. And what could be better than Casey Anthony? I don't know if this is more of a threat to all you guys that oppose that cult. Could find yourself wound up missing. Imagine that. That is something that I think is absolutely insane. We are by far in some crazy times right now. When you have Casey Anthony coming out, and again, I read some of the comments. Someone said she just wants 15 minutes of more of fame. If you remember, I think a lot of us, at least in my age group, around my age group, we paid close attention to that. And she actually did like the limelight in the courthouse. She did like the attention. And looks like she's going after it again. And she said that someone close to her have been attacked. I'm guessing it would be her girlfriend, maybe. I'm speculating here. But what would cause you to come out and say, oh, I want to stand for this? I mean, you got to have an excuse. You know how Pissant has an excuse to go out there and harass people, excuses that aren't real. Well, this person needed an excuse too. And I'm wondering what we're going to hear. I'm not going to go to her Substack. I'm not going to subscribe to her Substack. We're going to hear it because we have an awesome internet and awesome X to find out all this information. And I'm hoping that Democrats, you can have her. Democrats, you can have her. Like when you think about the first time we hear from Casey Anthony, and it's and speaking of that, I wonder if she's upset with this. I haven't checked an update, but I will give you an update on the second show, most likely. Mark Wayne Mullins, Senator Mullins says today the Senate has the chance to advance the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. I'm a yes vote. Let's see how many Senate Dems get on board with safety, biology, and common sense. And we know when we said, are the Democrats going to sit here and say, where are we really losing with the regular Americans, the people that we're supposed to support and are supposed to support us? And they're doubling down on their opposition to common sense. So I don't know what time that is, but I'm keeping that up here so we can cover it on the next show to see where it is. Now, on Friday, we covered President Trump. It was absolutely epic. J.D. Vance was absolutely epic in his response to Zelensky. As Zelensky coming into the White House, I think it was more of a setup on Zelensky's part. From everything we understood, he talked to Democrat senators beforehand and said, hey, I'm not going to sign a deal. I don't like what's going on here. But yet led the White House to believe that he wanted peace. And more is coming out now that he doesn't want peace with Russia. Again, this is fat money for Zelensky, guys. This is fat money for his family, the billions of dollars that Joe Biden has given him. This is all tied to, I mean, if we can go all the way back to Burisma and everything else that's happened with Democrats and Ukraine. I want to show you this right here. There's been some changing in opinions, though. When we came out right away and said, stop funding this war, this never ending war that, again, we don't know where the money's going. We don't know how it's being spent. just a lot of things. Let's put America first, right? We were called Russian propagandist, infiltrators of America, Russian bots, the typical things that Democrats say when they're losing an argument. You know, that's racist. He wants a border. He wants to protect his family. He's a racist man. Well, they did all the same things when it came to Ukraine. And I just want to show you this right here. Take a listen.
Holy Toledo. Look at this trend line here. U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. Back in February of 2022, it was just 7%. Up like a rocket ship. My goodness. Up now in February of 2025 to 41%. And the clear majority of Republicans, and of course, Republicans are in charge of the U.S. government now, 62% of Republicans say that the U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. What a difference from just 3 years ago. I can remember, John, all those backyards in the United States with those Ukrainian flags. Far fewer of them today, as Americans' opinions on Ukraine have changed dramatically.
What about opinions of the Ukrainian president?
Right. You know, obviously, if you would expect changes amongst the public on feelings towards Ukraine, feelings towards Zelensky have changed also dramatically. Look at this. Confident Zelensky will do the right thing when it comes to world affairs. Back in 2022, it was the clear majority, 72% through the floor. Through the floor by 2024, just 48% of Americans say that they're confident that Zelensky will do the right thing when it comes to world affairs. And GOP confidence has also plummeted dramatically. Now the clear majority of Republicans are not confident that Zelensky will do the right thing when it comes to world affairs. Really a real trend line, ones you rarely see in the American public when it comes to Ukraine and Zelensky. Confidence in both going down through the ground.
Look, some allies of President Trump have targeted Zelensky with harsh criticism over the last few years, and it could be that that's having some impact here.
Absolutely. The Republican establishment, the Republican electorate has moved as the Republican establishment and Republican leaders have moved on.
All right, let's talk about the idea of a peace deal. And again, the way you ask this matters, but go ahead.
The way you ask it is important, so we can talk about this a little bit. So the poll question essentially is, do you support a Russia-Ukraine negotiated peace deal? The vast majority of Americans, this is what they want. 78% say that they support this idea versus just 16% opposed. Of course, as we were talking about, does this question actually get at what's going on right now? I think you would say that it probably does not necessarily get what's going on right now.
No, the question asked, do you support a Russia-Ukraine negotiated peace deal? Ukraine's not there at the negotiations in Saudi Arabia this week, so the people were not asked this. And I do think
so a large shift. And again, this has a lot to do with just independent media. People, you know, fake news will go on a rant about this and this and this, and then people will actually pull up X or watch a show on Rumble and be like, oh, wait a second, this isn't correct. Look at this is what was actually said. This is what's actually being done. And again, I've told you this before. We don't want any wars. We don't want innocent people. We don't want soldiers. We don't want civilians. We don't want nobody to die. Trump has stated the same thing. This is very endless, and it seems almost as if the warmongers, the Democrat machine, don't care about that. They're not looking at any of that to give you a sense of where they're at, how they're doing, and it's getting worse, guys. It's getting worse, and we're going to get into some of that talk right now because Zelensky, listen to this.
For pulling our support.
I want to play this. Senator Angus King, listen to what he says. You can't make this up.
When the United States sided with Russia and North Korea at the United Nations, what message did that send?
Well, the first message it sent to me was shame.
Senator Angus King is an independent from Maine, serving on the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees.
I always try to think of, what's the argument on both sides? I cannot think of a rational argument for pulling our support from Ukraine.
Senator King likes to point out that Europe has given more than the U.S., and Ukraine has given the most.
They've done the dying. All they've asked for us is to send them the means to defend themselves.
In this moment, what should Congress be doing about Ukraine?
I think they have to start speaking up, because if we persist in walking away from Ukraine, it will be the greatest geopolitical mistake that this country's made.
And this is part of the problem with these warmongers. They don't want the war to end. I hope eventually we find out where a lot of this money is flowing, right? We know firsthand that you look at how strong the Democrats have been behind it. There was protests going on. There's the same typical leftist that have a lot of shady past and a lot of things that probably will be investigated that are just 100% for Ukraine. I mean, Joe Biden was like slobbered over this man, Zelensky. And again, Trump brought up a very good point. Our politicians here have lied about Russia, and I'm not defending Russia, but remember the Russia hoax? Lying, saying they're interfering in this, that they're working with Donald Trump, and it all came out, and it was actually the Democrats, and we still, to this day, have no justice for that. So when you're making a foreign leader, whether good or bad, and you are lying about that foreign leader, you are telling everybody around the world, don't work with Putin, don't work with Russia. This is what they did in our country. They've stolen an election here in the United States, and there was no accountability for the people that did that, even though it was 100% false that Trump worked with Russia. Then you have some things. Before I play this, I want to know
why our
put this up on the board, guys. Check this out. As always, this sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for a small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of that. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we are just happy that you watch us on this platform known as Rumble, guys. So again, we appreciate Rumble. We appreciate being able to get out to you. And thank you guys for watching us on Rumble. It's really big. Listen to this as we talk a little bit more against kind of the warmongers, the people that, again, they can't find somebody neutral that's not Trump derangement syndrome to say we should keep this fight going. They can't. They can't. Even the rhinos. Ukraine has lost the rhinos. That says a lot. But listen to this traitor right here.
I want to know why our ally is allowed to disrespect the United States of America, the leader, the current leader of this free
J.D.
world.
Vance owes Zelensky
finish.
an apology. President Trump owes Zelensky an apology for the way he was treated.
For what?
I demand it. What? I demand that they give.
You demand. Okay. UN resolution number 2.
Go ahead and say
I demand it. I demand. Wasn't this the guy that lied under oath? Guess what we're going to demand? And you didn't get a pardon, sir.
Preposterous things like Zelensky owes an apology for being attacked I'm going to go ahead and say something outrageous. Actually, I'm going
If
to go.
the price of you say
I
that
think these
Ukraine
guys.
wants
I think
peace.
JD
Hold on,
Vance should
hold on, hold on,
resign. How about that?
hold on.
We're just going to go throw crazy stuff into the air.
You say Ukraine wants peace.
Yeah.
If Zelensky wanted peace, then he would have kept his mouth shut.
He did until there were lies.
What?
Until there were
What
lies.
was the
JD
lie?
Vance didn't lie about anything. They were talking about
Putin's not a
diplomacy.
dictator.
That wasn't.
That's not what
That
he was
Putin's not the
responding
aggressor.
to. That's
That Putin's
not
not
what
the
he was
aggressor.
No one
responding
said
to.
that. I want to know why our.
Can you imagine that? These people are so triggered. And again, I thought it was great. Watching all the liberal tears come down after Trump put Zelensky in his place. You have no cards. He's literally sitting there with some chip stack in front of him. And those chips came from the United States, but he has no cards to play. And it's come out now over the weekend. And even Trump talked about it. Right here, this was a True Social post. This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer. It is what I was saying. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing and Europe. In the meantime, they had with Zelensky stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of a show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking? And it says, Ukraine Zelensky says an end of war with Russia is very, very far away. He doesn't want peace. And you know what, Trump, and I don't have it up here, Trump also posted, because, they're saying, oh, Trump's given up all this land to Russia. Trump posted on True Social today. No land has been taken under my presidency, sweetheart. That's all been under Joe Biden. You want somebody to blame? Blame Joe Biden. Now I want to stop the death. And people don't seem to be getting it. People do not seem to be getting it. So it's going to be epic. And then you know what else is going to be epic, guys? And I hope you put this on your calendars and you come and join us. Tomorrow night, State of the Union address by President Donald J. Trump. The left is already figuring out ways to boycott it. There is a lot of things going on. And again, I can't confirm it, but I think there's going to be some Democrats standing with Ukraine. Listen to this. Standing with Ukraine to boycott the United States State of the Union address. Who do they stand with? And they say Trump is Putin's puppet. Guess what? Trump supporters aren't out there with Russian flags in the street like the Ukraine, like the so-called Americans are. Think about that. But we will be live for that tomorrow night. That will be our official second show tomorrow. So I believe that's at 6 o'clock my time. So 9 o'clock Eastern, but we will be live probably 30 to an hour ahead of time, going over, talking about it, getting your comments. And this is what Trump had to say about that. Tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. So there's not that there's ever a filter on President Trump, but I think this is going to be epic. I don't know what he's going to touch bases on, but we've seen a lot of money laundering to George Soros NGOs with your tax dollars through USAID and other federal agencies. We have cut down some of those agencies. We've pretty much shut down USAID now. And we actually got a video. Which one is this out? There's another one where they're outside protesting in D.C. And we got a video to show you here in a minute. You're going to laugh, at least chuckle. Now listen to Senator Chris Murphy, who is Ukrainian first, American last. Take a listen to this and tell me this isn't hilarious.
Trying to lead your party, lead your colleagues in being aggressive and pushing back, as we've heard a lot this morning, against Donald Trump. You're skipping his joint address to Congress on Tuesday. You believe other Democrats, House and Senate Democrats, should do the same, and why?
Oh, I think every Democrat needs to make up their own mind. I think that State of the Union speech is going to be a farce. I think it's going to be a MAGA pep rally, not a serious talk to the nation. I think Donald Trump is going to spew a series of lies about his alignment with Russia, about what he's trying to do to allow Elon Musk to essentially monetize the American government to enrich Musk and his billionaire crowd. And I'm just not going to be a part of that. Listen, the case I'm making to Democrats is that we have to fight every single day. Every single day. Republicans flood the zone. Democrats have to flood the zone. They flood the zone with lies. We flood the zone with truth. We are going to stop this billionaire takeover of government. We are going to stop their destruction of democracy, which they have to do because what they are attempting to do, gut Medicaid in order to feed another set of tax.
You notice how they have lies about all this stuff? Well, we'll finish up the rest of this. But again, they talk about the MAGA lies, and it's going to be a MAGA pep rally. Did he not just say they were going to cut Medicaid? You can go check out the bill for yourself. It says nothing about defunding Medicaid. It does talk about, and even Speaker Mike Johnson said, this does not cut aid to people that need it. What we will do is find the waste, fraud, and abuse. A 29-year-old sitting on their couch playing video games probably shouldn't be on Medicaid. But they're trying to use that as, oh my God, remember they're pushing Granny off a cliff. They've used the same scare tactics for how long now? And the only thing they do when they're in control is bloat federal government, get more and more people on government insurance, enable them to say, hey, you're paying $280 now every 2 weeks for your family of 4. Check this out. I know it was only like $60 before Obamacare, but now that it's $280, we want to get you on government health care. We'll take care of you. And then it's going to be $190 every 2 weeks. Still overpriced, but again, they want the government to be your daddy. They don't want you to have personal responsibility. And that's what, guess what? That's what America is about, a little personal responsibility. You know, I've said it before, too many people take advantage of what I call the welfare state. And that's what Democrats are fearing right now, that we're going to get rid of the welfare state.
Cuts to Elon Musk and his billionaire friends. It's unpopular. We're going to stop that billionaire takeover, that destruction of our democracy, only by fighting them every single day. A lot of Democrats think maybe you should, fight every third day. You should reserve your power and jump out of the bushes at the right moment. I just think that we have to be on the offensive 24/7.
On the offensive 24/7. What have they done? They haven't stopped anything. They filed some bogus lawsuits. They get something halted for a minute, and then it goes to the Supreme Court or it goes to another judge, and the judge is like, Donald Trump's the chief executive officer. He can make these decisions. And they're not winning anything. Everything they're telling to the American people from the Democrat mouths are lies. It's like, wow. And they are worried right now. Think about how much stuff has been uncovered. Everything has gone to their woke agenda. They're upset because transgender, operas are being canceled. You're not paying for that as a taxpayer anymore. They're upset that Donald Trump wants to take no tax on tips, that he wants to implement no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Could you imagine? I know a lot of people that do a lot of overtime. A lot of my friends do a lot of overtime, and they're like, man, you almost make less money doing overtime. I don't even want to do it sometimes because you're taxed higher after you've already put in your 40 hours a week. That's the way Democrats think, and they are upset that we are on a path forward to make America great again, to make the American citizen able to pay their bills. And we've seen what they've done over the inflation things. So that was in response of the State of the Union. So this is who the Democratic response will be from. This is Senator Elisa Slotkin, senator from the great state of Michigan, working to boost the middle class, protect our country, our kids, and our democracy. So it says protect our kids. Are they protecting our little girls from men and women's sports, from males and females changing rooms and bathrooms? No, they are not. They are still pushing for all that. Let's just go down because, again, we will be covering her rebuttal to Donald Trump's State of the Union. And it says, so March 2nd, she's wishing a peaceful Ramadan to those who are celebrating across Michigan. Wow. Here we go. February 28th. I can't imagine the party Putin is having in Moscow right now. He doesn't have to lift a finger. He invades a country. She forgot to say, why did he invade a country? Because Biden allowed it. Weak leadership. Gets pushed back and then sidles up to an American president short-sighted enough to do this bidding for him right from our Oval Office. And there's that right there. She shared her own politics page. Democrats tap Michigan Slotkin to give the rebuttal to Trump's State of the Union address. And she replied, from our economic security to our national security, we've got to chart a way forward that improves people's lives in the country we all love. And I look forward to laying that out. Now, she said in the country we all love. Is she talking about Ukraine? Because her party isn't holding American flags. Her party is holding Ukrainian flags. And then sometimes on the weekend, they're holding Mexico flags, saying we want illegals. We want criminal illegals to stay here. It's just insane, guys. Insane what we are seeing. Now, I seen this. When was this? I think this was at the end of February on the Russia-Ukraine status. Take a listen to this.
He's doing considerably
this
better
is the
than
handling
Joe Biden was
of that.
So I think the easiest.
Sorry, I'm clicking up that sound a little.
Way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
What about specifically on how they feel about bringing the war to an end?
Yeah, okay. So, look, questions on this can be quite complicated, but I think this kind of.
So, again, another talking point coming from an arm of the Democrat Party, CNN, stating, I mean, what was that difference there? That was a 24-point swing where Biden was negative 22 points and Trump is +2 on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine deal. You won't hear that from Chris. You won't hear that from Pocahontas. You won't hear that from anybody, folks. It's absolutely insane what we're seeing here. And again, America gets it. Most of us get it. Most of us drive by a Tesla dealership and see people out there calling Elon a Nazi and think, wow, what the hell went wrong in their lives? Elon is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. That's it, folks. That's it. We created this country on a limited government. Limited, not bloated. We don't need millions and millions of federal employees. We need to focus on the private sector. But you'd never know. You would never know.
Cal,
oh, man. It just gets better all the time with these Democrats. Now, speaking of Trump's policies and what happens, CBS News reported this, and we're going to cover this a little more in our next show. President Trump on Monday will announce that a leading Taiwanese semiconductor chip company plans to invest $100 billion in new manufacturing plants in the U.S., two sources tell CBS News. It's amazing what tariffs could do. It's amazing what happens when you tell these companies, listen, you're employing thousands of people in foreign countries. Why? Because we want to rip you off. We want to tax you to death. Why should we tax you to death when you employ our people And when Trump comes in saying, hey, listen, we're not gonna burden manufacturers. We're not gonna run all the manufacturers out to foreign countries. We want manufacturing jobs. We want this stuff manufactured in the United States. It is a security issue. If our shipping was shut down, where are we going to get chips to build some of the stuff we need to build? Whether it's wartime, whether it's regular technology, all these things, we depend on foreign countries. And that's what Democrats want. They see this and Democrats hate this. It's just insane. Let's see what else we got right here. Breaking. Honda to build Civic hybrid in U.S. in Indiana over Mexico due to tariffs.
Expressed concerns about the levies, but Honda's reported move would be the first potential. Sources say Honda has decided to produce its next generation Civic hybrid in the U.S. state of Indiana. The switch from Mexico is to avoid potential tariffs on one of its top-selling car models, the people familiar with the matter have said. The change underscores how manufacturers are scrambling to adapt to US President Donald Trump's proposed 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada. Several automakers have expressed concerns about the levies, but Honda's reported move would be the first concrete measure by a major Japanese car company. The sources said Honda now plans to build its new Civic model in Indiana from May 2028, with an expected annual production of around 210,000 vehicles. All of those speaking to Reuters requested anonymity, as the information has not been made public. A Honda spokesperson declined to comment on changes to the Civic production plan. Mexico has long been a lower-cost production hub for Japanese and other global automakers. Honda sends around 80% of its Mexican output to the US, the world's second-largest auto market after China. It warned in November that it would have to think about shifting production if the US were to impose permanent tariffs on imported vehicles. Honda's case underscores how potentially disruptive the US tariffs would be for industries that cannot drastically alter production plans in the short term.
So here we have Democrats saying these tariffs are horrible. You have Honda now saying they're going to Indiana to build their EV Civic, or their hybrid Civic. You got a Taiwanese chip manufacturer that is saying it's going to invest $100 billion to build those chips here in the United States. Why are Democrats so against this? Why? Because Democrats, and you guys know it, have been America last for a long time. Their policies and everything else that we have seen and what's going on has been absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Hey, guys, make sure you share this out. Notify your friends and family that we are on and we are live. I know I've been getting messages that notifications have not been getting out. So if you can, notify folks so we can fill their ear with a little bit of information too. I love
Democrats
this one.
should be
Scott Jennings is just great. And he calls out the left. We've been saying this. I mean, on day 3, I think it was January 23rd, literally less than 72 hours after Trump took office, Democrats are saying, what about egg prices? What about egg prices? Joe Biden just killed all our chickens instead of fixing it. You can't make this stuff up. And listen to what Scott Jennings says here. And I think we have another epic one by Scott Jennings here in a minute, too.
Should be talking to the American voter about how Donald Trump has not delivered on these key issues. And instead, we are heading towards a potential government shutdown that will only hurt the American people.
It's amazing to me, by the way, we're having this debate because Joe Biden was president for 4 years and ran the country off into the ditch. And that's why Kamala Harris lost the election. And now Donald Trump's been president for about 5 minutes. And Democrats are like, well, my gosh, why isn't somebody fixing all the problems we caused? I just don't think voters are that silly, really. I mean, I think they take a longer view of this. His report card will ultimately come in the midterms, which isn't until next year. Until then, he's got to get the Republicans in Congress to come along with him on this reconciliation plan, on extending and making permanent the tax cuts. And then the American people are going to give it a chance to work. But the guy took office in January, and he's trying to unravel a mess that was 4 years in the making. I think he's got a little more leash than maybe you're giving him credit for.
It's just so much truth to all that. So much truth to all that. Nobody understands what's going on. I mean, I think the average American sits there and listens to when Democrats and sit there, like when they try to utilize egg prices. Americans are like, under Biden, my gas went up, my bacon went up, my bread went up, my milk went up, my produce went up, my meat went up, my laundry detergent went up, my health insurance went up, my car insurance went up, my electricity went up. They can go on for hours and hours. You know what I'm saying? And they got one thing that they're focused on usually right now, which is eggs. And the American people are sitting there like, this is why we don't vote for Democrats. This is why we can no longer support this party. They're out of touch, out of tune, and it's just, it's beyond craziness. It's beyond craziness. So we covered the layoffs and some of the stuff on Friday with the NOAA, and how they say we're all going to die. How now these meteorologists that couldn't predict the storm coming in 4 hours, that the only thing that meteorologists say they can get right is global warming, and they've been wrong on that since the inception of climate change. Well, I just love this. And you know what? I don't want to boast when people lose their jobs. That's just not appropriate. Some people, yes, obviously people that were milking off your tax dollars. But this makes it very hard, guys. This makes it very hard. Take a look at this. This is today in D.C. And they're talking about, they say scientists can't stand on the shoulder of giants if Trump cuts them off at the knees. Now, are these the same scientists that say men can get pregnant? Is that who you want to fund? Well, listen to this. Look at all, I mean, they all look like libtards.
Thank you, Rapid Response Choir.
The Rapid Response Choir out there. You know what? I just changed my whole mind right now. I just changed my whole mind. I want to keep funding this place. Can we do that? Can we keep funding? I can't believe what we're watching. Like, they have lost their ever-loving minds, guys. They have lost it. Absolutely lost it. So we covered, starting about 2 weeks ago, we told you that Democrats, paid operatives, were going to Republican town halls, and you could tell by, you can tell a difference between a Republican and a Democrat, one on how they protest. One, Democrats love the cult chants, hey, hey, ho, ho, Elon Musk has got to go, those type of things. And so they've been doing it. We covered, I think it was on Friday or Thursday, where some of that funding and who was behind getting these Democrats out there, and that it's coming behind, what was it? One of George Soros's, what's the name? I'm not going to remember it right now. Something Society. I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long Monday morning already. And they're getting exposed. And I want to show you they're continuing to do it. They're continuing to pretend like somehow when we see the polls that Donald Trump has a 90% approval rating by Republicans. So the people that voted for him, we haven't seen anything like that. Now, the people that didn't vote for him, they hate him. They want him gone. Take a listen to this. Take a listen to this. This was Some of those people. So what they're doing is they're getting the videos and they're putting it out on social media and saying, "Oh, Trump voters are so upset at Trump for what he's doing." I voted for this. I voted. And when he ends the funding for Ukraine 100%, I will celebrate. Listen to this.
A mandate to the president from the American people. Am I correct?
No.
There's not a mandate by the American people overwhelmingly.
Not one of those people in there saying no ever voted for Trump or this lady. You know it, and I know it.
30%. The congressional budget office, you know what it's going to be by 2035? It's going to be $59 trillion. Did I tell you?
We're giving billionaires tax cut. Another Democrat talking point because they don't understand the truth. And you're not giving billionaires tax cuts. You're giving them incentive to come back to the United States. You're giving them an opportunity to invest and create more jobs in the United States, which Democrats hate. They want you to be paid off what? Tax dollars.
You've got people who pay more taxes. The top 1% of this country pays taxes, more taxes. There's been a mandate to the.
So that's what they're trying to do. Again, they're still doing it. That's okay, though. We like it. I hope we don't get a whole lot of town halls here in California. More places that are more political get them. We don't get a whole lot. I remember trying to go to town halls, and just because of my name, not even wearing no MAGA stuff, even back in 2015, they wouldn't let me into a Democrat town hall. That was lying Ted Lieu. But even when we have conservatives, very few times do we actually have town halls. I know some of you in the Midwest and other places, you guys get to enjoy those a lot. Here's another one. And this is how it's labeled. This is what they want you to believe. The Daily Beast, which is a fake organization, fake news, posted a Republican senator fled a rowdy Kansas town hall meeting early to escape angry constituents raging against DOGE cuts and the U.S. stance on Ukraine. So again, conservatives are done with Ukraine. We're done funding them. We see what inflation has done with the billions of dollars that we spend and we give to other countries. And they're not raging against DOGE cuts. We don't care. We said we want to see the employment number come out and skyrocket because we've gotten rid of that many federal workers. We don't want to see it in the private sector. Actually, that's why we're giving incentives to these people that invest in the country. That's why we need the $100 billion invested in the United States from a chip manufacturer. That's why we need Honda to come and move the building of its hybrid Civic from Mexico into Indiana. That is why. And Democrats are frustrated. But that's the news articles they want you to believe. Oh my God, MAGA guy, Oreo, he's just so upset with Donald Trump. And guess what Trump put out today? I love it because we've been covering it for a couple weeks. We always try to give you the news. Paid troublemakers are attempting to attend Republican town hall meetings. It's all part of the game of the Democrats. But just like our big landslide election, it's not going to work for them. I just love it. Speaking of Donald Trump, he posted that on Truth Social, guys. If you're looking for a great place online for news, discussion, and entertainment, then check out Truth Social, Donald Trump's social media website. You'll get breaking news, story, and commentary from top media figures. If you want to see Trump's legendary Truth Social posts, then get them on Truth Social today. Join a growing community of patriots on a free speech platform designed to avoid censorship and cancellation by big tech. Make your voices heard. Join the movement. Join Truth Social. So, what else do we have coming up, guys? Let's see here. Listen to this. Let's listen to what CNN has to say about this. Paid troublemakers.
Their
But it's not
constituents, but these
just
people,
them,
but these
Scott.
people, but these people are.
I love Scott Jennings.
Nope.
Watch. Here we go.
Everybody loves going to a Republican town hall meeting like crazed liberal Democrat activists. I have no doubt they are their
But it's
constituents.
not
But these
just
people,
them,
but these
Scott.
people, but these people are, but these people are. They hated Donald Trump before. They hate Donald Trump today, and they're professional complainers when it comes to Republicans. Look, I guess you could take any of these conversations seriously, and the way to handle it is to stand up there and calmly and clearly explain that we've inherited a mess. The American people have entrusted the Republican Party to get us out of the mess. It's going to take a lot of work to get us out of the mess. And here's what we're doing to do that. We're going to fix immigration. It's already happening. We're going to unleash American energy. That's going to be part of the reconciliation bill. You know, we're going to have more or less chaos in the world. And that's what Donald Trump's trying to do by negotiating an end to the war in Ukraine and get the Middle East under control. I mean, the Republican priorities are not complicated and they're very clear. But let me just tell you, having been to many of these town hall meetings over a 25-year career in politics, a lot of the people that show up at these things are there because they're committed partisan activists, not because they wandered in because they had some concern. I don't doubt that they are actual constituents. But if you think somebody that showed up with a hand-painted sign at a town hall meeting came in undecided, I got news for you. It just doesn't work that way.
Just doesn't work that way. And it doesn't. We've talked about it time and time again. We've also talked about how the Democrat Party not only gets a lot of money, and that might be coming to an end. The reason why I don't think these things are bigger and we don't see the protest is we used to be able to funnel the money through USAID. That would go to different NGOs, our other federal governments, give money to NGOs. They in turn print all these signs out. They get all their people, their activists out, and you have 10,000 people at a protest in DC with all matching signs calling themselves grassroots. Now that we have Doge and we have places like USAID and we're looking into it, it's like, wait a second, where did this money go? Where did this money go? And again, I'm not a fan of Frank Lutz. You guys know that. I call him, who is it? Who did I say? Again, this guy has dilled and has pushed a lot of fake narratives on his opinions on Donald Trump. Said Donald Trump just shot himself on the foot on this one, that you can't run a country, you can't, all these different things. But when it comes to polling, I think his polling is pretty accurate. He was right stating that Kamala Harris was going to lose, saying she's not talking to the press. She's ignoring the press. Everything she does is scripted. I mean, he called it out. And so he put this post up, and I got to agree with him. It says, the United States isn't changing. It has changed. 3 years ago, Americans were overwhelmingly supportive of Ukraine, and they considered Zelensky to be a global hero. Today, a majority of Americans oppose the war, and Zelensky is now a controversial character. President Trump is on his way to being, listen to this, the most impactful, consequential president since FDR, and his supporters are more loyal to him than any president since Andrew Jackson. To be clear, I am not making a judgment on either Ukraine, Zelensky, or President Trump. I am merely noting what the polls are saying. And based on these results, this Tuesday night State of the Union address should have a very big audience. And let's go over to his polls. This was poll 1 of 2. And again, let's pull this up. As after yesterday's White House meeting, whom are you angrier at? 191,000 votes and 90.8. And again, this is real polling. This isn't, we're going to scan our CNN audience and left-wing activist polling. And 90.8% are angrier at Vladimir Zelensky. And then poll 2, check this out. Poll 2 about Ukraine. At this point in the Russia-Ukraine war, who are you more sympathetic towards? More people chose Russia than Ukraine. You can't make this up. And again, I don't think we should be sympathetic to either country. Either country has our back. Either country, our friends, are what you call allies. You want to call Ukraine an ally? I'll be your ally for $250 billion too. I'll be your ally if you pay for my government to run month after month. That's not an ally. That's a child. You're supporting a child, a very expensive child, who doesn't want that support to go away. Insane. Absolutely insane. And listen to this. I want to play this before we get into a little California politics. We have another child known as Gavin Newsom, and he needs money from the federal government. But Bill Nye came on CNN and absolutely lied to the people. We cover a lot of the wildfires and the reason why they happen, or maybe not even why they happen, but why they grow so large. And listen to Bill Nye's lie.
Resources you have to disaster relief.
We heard from that employee, Bill, who said it's like asking for a disaster to happen. What concerns do you have on that front, given the valuable service that NOAA provides?
Well, the other thing, the climate is changing. Say to yourself it's not, and you can take campaign financing from the fossil fuel industry, and you can pretend the climate's not changing and hurricanes aren't becoming more frequent and flooding isn't more. There's forest fires, wildfires in the Carolinas. That didn't used to be a thing, everybody. It's because weather patterns have changed and things dried out in an extraordinary fashion that they didn't used to do. You can pretend that's not happening, but it is. And this is where NOAA's service helped us prepare and deal with that. And it certainly informs where to apply whatever limited resources you have to disaster relief. So it's just everybody, the reason you have public service is to serve the public. And by dismantling this public service, you are not serving the public. And I understand where this came from. This engineer who looked for the weakness, found the weakness, exploited the weakness as fast as he unrealistically could. And now we have a system that's broken in many ways that has to be rebuilt. So yeah, this is in nobody's best interest.
And it's playing out still, and we'll see how far and deep these cuts really do hit in this agency and others. Bill Nye, good to see you. Thank you.
Another thing is those employees are losing their health insurance, and somebody's going to pay for that too. It's just.
No, Bill, first of all, let me do the last part first. They go get, if they're capable employees and they're good at their job and they're educated in a field, they go get another job. They're just not relying. We were already paying their health insurance, Bill. They're a federal employee. They are taxpayer funded. This is the ignorance. And this whole climate change, this whole lie, this whole thing that has cost trillions of dollars to taxpayers, that has put more regulations. I mean, I'm coming from California. I can tell you, when you go up to the mountains and you see that the shrubs are this tall in between the trees and the forest, and you wonder, one match, one cigarette, one lightning strike, one spark, and it's going to take hundreds of miles of forest out. Oh, well, we can't do that. We can't clean this. If you remember, I want to see if I can pull something up really quick, because the next article, or the next thing we talk about, is the reason why. I don't know how many of you remember this, if it comes up. So this person is saying Trump is an absolute idiot, an effing idiot's what he said. And listen to what Trump said about forest management. And then I'll play an older one.
Years ago, I was talking to people from Austria, people from Finland, people that live in forests. One of the gentlemen, one of the top great leaders of Austria said, we don't have forest fires, and we have trees that are actually far more flammable than they have in California, but they literally rake their forests.
They rake their forest. You know what that means? It usually means heavy equipment. It usually means taking down the brush. Listen to this. Let me find... let's see if we can find an older one, because, and this is all going towards our next story of Gavin Newsom. And this is what he said on Joe Rogan.
I said, why didn't we have no water? I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why didn't you have no water?
Hold on, that's not the one. That's the other one. Trying to look at the one where he was. Should have pulled this up. He was with Gavin Newsom, about 120 miles from here. And here was one of his tweets. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has done a terrible job with forest management. I told him from the first day we met, he must clean his forest floors regardless of what his bosses, the environmentalists, demand of him, and must also do burns and cut fire stoppers. Every year as the fires rage and California burns, it's the same thing, and then he comes to the federal government for more money. No more. Get your act together, Governor. This isn't 19, guys. This was 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. Let me show you what Gavin Newsom put out. This year has already seen some of the most destructive wildfires in California history, and we're only in March. That's why I'm proclaiming a state of emergency to fast-track critical forest management projects needed to protect our communities most vulnerable to wildfire. A lot of residents would say a little too late. A lot of Californians would say a little too late. But here we are. And he says, read more. So we're going to go from the California government office and just show you how. And again, there's a reason why he's fast-tracking this. Because when he's asked for $40 billion from the federal government, and when Daddy says, what are you doing to prevent more fires? We're not just a piggy bank for you. It says right here. Close that. Sacramento, following the devastation of the Los Angeles firestorms and with the risk of wildfire increasing statewide, Governor Newsom today proclaimed a state of emergency to fast-track critical projects protecting communities from wildfire ahead of peak fire system. Today's emergency proclamation will cut the bureaucratic red tape, including suspending CEQA and the Coastal Act. So, simple things that Trump said to do. The right there when it says suspending CEQA and the Coastal Act, those are the left-wing organizations, the people that, you know, anything we want to do, they're like, hey, we can't do this. We can't log. We can't do this. All the things that California was once known for. We're suspending that. So they're going to scream and cry. This is exactly what we needed to do a long time ago, and stop listening to these radical environmentalists that the reason why a lot of this happens isn't just Gavin Newsom, it's his radicalist buddies. They don't want you to go clean out the forest. They want all those animals and those animals to die. They want all those buildings to crush down. And it's sad. It said this year has already seen some of the most destructive wildfires in California history. They couldn't put them out. They weren't prepared for it. They had a DEI fire chief. They had a DEI mayor, essentially, who left to Ghana after she sent out a tweet that, hey, be careful, high wind warnings. They didn't have fire trucks stationed and are positioned in certain areas to help prevent it from really just devastating a large portion of LA and our Pacific Coast Highway areas. It says how it works. Suspending environmental regulations, including CEQA and the Coastal Act, as needed to expedite fuels reduction projects. So everything we've been saying that they've been saying is global warming, here you have it. It's not global warming, it's the mismanagement. So when this is done and a fire starts, instead of going to 800, 900, 1,000 acres, they can actually put it out maybe in 100, maybe in 200 acres. Allowing non-state entities to conduct approved fuels reduction work with expedited and streamlined approval. Directing state agencies to submit recommendations for increasing the pace and scale of prescribed fire. I haven't seen a prescribed fire here in so long. I remember growing up, not only would I be driving down Clovis Avenue, I'm from Clovis, California, and I remember in front of us was a big logging truck because they were allowed to log. All these things that environmentalists have taken away has caused us to be in this area where it's like, wait a second, what is going on here? And again, who wants to say it? Trump was right again. And speaking of California, there's so many things Gavin Newsom don't care about. I seen this. Some felons ransacked and looted a Bel Air mansion, leaving behind tens of thousands of dollars in cash and handbags during their getaway. Look at this is KTLA.
Bel Air, the LAPD looking for several suspects who dropped. Begin with breaking news: a burglary at a mansion in Bel Air. The LAPD looking for several suspects who dropped hundreds of dollars in stolen cash. The money was taken from a home on Milldale Drive near Moraga Drive about 1 o'clock this morning. Now, it was scattered on the ground after the suspects dropped the money trying to get away. Police say several expensive handbags were also dropped as the suspects ran from the home. Witnesses say they jumped into a waiting car and then sped away from the scene.
See all that money on the ground? We've come to be the spot if you want to steal, even though we've passed Prop 36. There's not a whole lot of funding for it yet. There's not any funding for it. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't being charged with felonies and everything else, finally, but they know they get away with this. And this was all created by a super majority of Democrats. It's bottom line, guys. Check this one out here. Let's see if it's going to pull up. Now we're going to go into, I don't think we have that much on it. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is in the wrong spot. So we've had some ICE people being doxxed. We covered that. We had a couple news articles giving their names. We had residents in Los Angeles posting their vehicles, who they are, a picture of them. I want you to listen to this. I want you to see this right here. This is a statement by ICE. We will prosecute those who dox ICE agents to the full extent of the law. These criminals are taking the side of vicious cartels and human traffickers. We won't allow it in America. That's from Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security. And we had another one today, or yesterday, another Democrat operative that acts as a reporter doing that. But first, let's listen to who's done some of this. Listen to this right here.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry. And are you going to do it?
I think these people, and it's going to take some time, but I think these people have a lot to learn regardless. And she did send a letter to the DOJ asking about that inquiry. Let me close this one. Now, we've got some new border numbers. We're going to talk about another so-called journalist who is gaslighting and is doxing, or I wouldn't say doxing, but yeah, doxing the location of where these raids are going to be on. But let's listen, guys, because, Trump is a miracle worker. Just listen to Biden. Just listen to Biden on the border, guys. This was Biden, and this was where Democrats stood.
Have you done everything you can do with executive authority, or is there more you could do absent legislation?
That's all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office. Give me the border patrol. Give me the people. Give me the people, the judges. Give me the people who can stop this and make it work right.
You heard him. He's done everything in his power to prevent the millions and millions coming across illegally in the United States. Now, we know this was intentional. When you look at how they are trying to get illegals to vote and how they want them in this country, they want taxpayers footing the bill, going to their socialist Marxist ways. Listen to
Have you done everything you can do with executive authority, or is there more you could do absent legislation?
That's all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office. Give me the border.
Give me the power. Give me the power. Well, we've learned in the last, 40-something days, this was illegal southern border crossings. Check this out. February 22, we had 166,000. February 23, we had 156,000. February 2024, 189,000. And in February 25, under Donald Trump, 8,326. And Rapid Response 47 said, what was that about needing a bill again? We didn't need a bill, guys. They lied to you. Remember, they said, we have a bipartisan agreement here that will fix the border because it can't be done without a bipartisan border bill. Well, it's being done, and it is done, and it's going to get better. Take a look at this.
Here are the numbers from February at the border. 8,326. Here are the numbers.
This is just.
Here are the numbers from February at the border. 8,326. Here are the numbers from the border a year ago, same month. 189,913.
And we took you there many of those months, probably in February. We were probably there almost every February they mentioned after 2021. This is historic, what is happening on our southern border, what people had put President Trump in office to do. He's done. He's been amazing on it. Now, this is the kind of stuff I just want to show you. This is a DACA arrest, and this DACA, if you don't know, deferred action for childhood arrivals, meaning this person was brought in illegally into the United States by their parents. Barack Obama created something called DACA to protect them from being deported and allow them to do everything a United States citizen can do. And Trump even said, hey, we do have a lot of these people in the country. We can work a deal. He goes, listen, he told Democrats back in, 2017, let's work a deal. You give me money to secure the border, and we'll do a deal on DACA. And Democrats said, nope. A lot less money needed for our southern border. And there's a reason. We all know the reason than we've needed for Ukraine. Ukraine, it was never, we didn't have the money. So this right here is a post by Chief Patrol Agent Gloria Chavez. DACA arrest. RGV Border Patrol agents assigned to the Velasco station arrested a DACA recipient attempting to smuggle illegal aliens in a vehicle. The driver, who is a Mexican citizen with DACA status, will be charged with 18 U.S. 1324, bringing in and harboring certain aliens. Guess you just lost that DACA status, huh? Looks like you're probably going to be deported now for violating and really aiding and abetting the invasion into our southern border. Now, finally, I think this is amazing. Whenever news gets big enough, the independent stuff that we cover every day, many others cover every day, whenever that news gets big enough to hit mainstream, you got to love it. You got to love it. Look at actually a agency or a news agency out of San Antonio, Texas, actually covering one of the NGOs. Now, they're not telling you all the fraud and everything they did, but just they're covering
Doge
it. Take
says
a listen.
has been sitting empty, while Endeavors has.
Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, has targeted a nonprofit based here in San Antonio, saying its contract $1 million a year is canceled. News 4 San Antonio I-Team Waste Watch reporter Jay Avila has this story live from the Content Center.
Mandy, in a post on X, Doge said the Department of Health and Human Services had terminated a contract paying Family Endeavors $18 million a month to operate an empty facility in West Texas.
The organization is also known as Endeavors, and you may have seen its administrative headquarters and wellness center on De Zavala Road, where it has a cluster of buildings and storefronts. Doge focused on an overflow housing facility for migrant families Endeavors operates in Pecos, Texas, which Doge says has been sitting empty, while Endeavors has been receiving the $18 million per month. Homeland Security reposted Doge's X post, tagging U.S. Attorney Ed Martin with the words, "Please investigate," to which Martin responded, "Duly noted, we are on it." I went to Endeavor's San Antonio headquarters today to get a comment from the organization. They responded late this afternoon by email. Endeavors was responsible for maintaining operational readiness at the Pecos shelter, ensuring the ability to scale from cold status, operationally ready but not actively serving children, to full use of 3,000 beds as needed. Decisions regarding facility use and migrant sheltering locations were made by the federal government, not Endeavors. Any claims of corruption or mismanagement are baseless. Doge. So then let me ask you, what did you do with the $18 million a month if you had nobody in your facilities? What did you do with the $18 million a month? I think it would be nice for us to know, wouldn't it? I would like to know. You say that the claims are baseless. Did you call the federal government and said, "Oh, hold on your $18 million. We are doing nothing here. This facility is not anything." And especially now that Trump's taken over, we showed you all these NGOs closing down across the country. Beautiful. Beautiful. Promises made, promises kept. But it's good because we've covered this. It's good that now a lot of people. So when I go talk to people and they say, "Well, what do you do?" And they're not into politics. They don't pay attention to politics. They might vote sometimes. Other times they just do what they're told. And they're like, "Well, is there really an invasion going on the southern border?" And I show them some of the videos. What would you call this? That's going on. They don't even have a clue. And then when I start talking about NGOs, what's an NGO? Your tax dollars go to these places to facilitate this invasion. And then when we start explaining a little more that it goes as far as American Red Cross, Jewish Family Services, HIAS, all these places are like, no, it can't be. And then you show them the video of all the American Red Cross blankets out at the border, all the things we've covered over the last couple of years. And they're like, what? Those people don't know because they watch their local news if they watch any news, which you're not getting any information for. Just great. Pablo Manriquez. Check this out. Pablo Manriquez says new ICE has been spotted in Buchanan, Buckingham, Fort Myers, Ballston, Arlington, Rosslyn, Manassas, and on other Little River Turnpike, all in Northern Virginia.
So yesterday, which was March 2nd, he says ICE raids are planned for Monday and Tuesday in Northern Virginia per multiple sources who tell us ICE has obtained between 75 and 100 judicial warrants. So what's funny is I'm glad ICE had the warrant. So this isn't just a knock. Are you illegal? These people have warrants that the ICE that they had to get obtained. These are criminals. He is actually warning criminals that it was good enough to get a warrant. These aren't people that were picking your vegetables. Democrats love to say that. And it's just crazy. Listen to this. This was Fox News.
Virginia, if you were in the country illegally, a heads up over the weekend because the reporter, the editor for the Migrant Insider, Pablo Mencarias, with 45,000 followers, put out that ICE is planning raids today, that's for Monday, and tomorrow in Northern Virginia. 75 to 100 different warrants. And as of about an hour ago, that had 615,000 views. So the migrant community is well aware of what ICE has got planned today.
Did you see what he was willing to put out there, though? He said it was 75 to 100 judicial warrants. That means a judge has signed an order for them to be brought into custody, but yet he was still okay with tipping them off.
That's dangerous for our guys.
Yes,
Are there consequences for this guy? I mean, do the police go after him now because
they need to.
He's interfering with an investigation.
But he's a reporter. He got information. It's whoever leaked it to him. It could be somebody from the courts. It could be somebody from the federal government.
In trouble. I think that if you go out and hinder an investigation,
just because you're a reporter doesn't matter.
There should be consequences for that.
Yeah, as a reporter, I'm going to broadcast to everyone.
You're defending people who have done something wrong. These are criminals. They're here illegal.
I think the line is when you start to aid and abet, whether you're a journalist or not. I don't even think that's journalism right there. He's clearly trying to help these people that are there. That post was leaked also to the activists there on the ground as well. Right.
So now again, I am big on free speech. Again, and free speech has its limitations. I can't go into an airport or a crowded movie theater and say bomb causes panic, can cause a lot of bad things to happen. This falls in line with this, and I don't know why this person still has their account on X when they're actively going up against the United States. Some people are calling it seditious.
These people are just going to flee. This is what happened with.
And I just find it amazing. And I think these people will have something coming to them soon enough. I really do. It's bad. Let me see what else we had up here. If we had, I'll show you what Bill Malugin put up on that one. Pull it up. And if you go down Bill Malugin's post here, here's another one, just so you guys know what's going on. A Guatemalan illegal alien who has been living in the sanctuary city of Los Angeles has been arrested and indicted by DOJ for allegedly wanting one of the largest human smuggling organizations in the U.S., a ring that smuggled roughly 20,000 illegal aliens from Guatemala. This is who these activists and these protests and these anti-American people are protecting. Check this out. 20,000 out of LA. This is huge work by ICE. Feds say some were held as hostage in stash houses, and 7 illegal immigrants, including a 4-year-old child, were killed in a human smuggling related crash in Oklahoma in 2023. DOJ says 51-year-old Edward Domingo Rinjo Matu, a.k.a. Turco, had been living in the Westlake neighborhood near downtown L.A. He and his organization allegedly charged illegal aliens roughly between $15,000 and $18,000 per person to be brought into the U.S. illegally, with a majority of their trafficking taking place between Los Angeles and Phoenix. A federal magistrate has ordered him to be held without bond. A co-defendant, also an illegal alien from Guatemala, has also been charged by the DOJ after he allegedly threatened to behead an HSI agent and his family while a search warrant was being conducted at his home on Friday. Several other Guatemalan illegal aliens were also arrested and charged with the feds of all of whom had been living in the sanctuary city of LA. This is what sanctuary cities promote, folks. Look at that. I mean, great bust. 20,000 illegal aliens at 15 to 18,000. I'm just going to do the math really quick. Let's see. Let's go to calculator. So we'll go 20,000 times. We'll do the low end. We won't do the high end. We'll do the 15,000. Wow, that's a lot of money, guys. Look at that. I want to put that up on the screen right there. $300 million. When we tell you human trafficking is a big business and what is going on with it and why there's so much pushback. Again, these are the people Democrats wanted to stay in your country. They didn't want criminals deported. This person has been running a human smuggling operation for years. 2019 through 2024 made $300 million on the low end. That's great news. I'm going to... Wow. So that's where we are right now. That's why we need to keep fighting. Hold on one second. Let's do one more of these bad boys. And again, we're going to be back online here in a little while. It says, I want to talk about the things that people are afraid to say out loud. Who is in control of America's nukes? It's not Biden. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of Florida and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel. The world is at its most unstable point since World War II. And with nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. How do people like you and I stay safe? Every prepper needs to have a Radio Guard ACE, the only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds had it until now. That's why Rumble partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of Radio Guard ACE and the ability to prescribe it to prophylactically. Get the radiation emergency kit with Radio Guard ACE. Potassium iodide, Zofran, and Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in your arsenal to protect against radioactive threats. Go to 5gfree.com, code STUDIO to save 15% and get your radiation kit now, guys. Sounds like something we might all need, especially with the way the world's going. The way the world's going, folks. So we will be doing a second show. We have a lot to talk about in the second show. That will be either 3 hours or 3.5 hours. It's going to take me a while to prep it all. I hope you all had a good weekend. Hopefully, we want to say thank you again. It's the first of the month. If you guys want to help us out, we appreciate it. You can do Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. Or if you prefer Zelle, that is over at our website, theoreoexpress.com/Oreo 2024. Want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Make sure your notifications are on, and we will see you. Make sure you're following on X too, because I realize a lot of you aren't getting notifications through Rumble right now. I am going to post when I am like 10 minutes before I go live on X every time. I got to remember that, put a note to myself, but I will do that. I want to say thank you once again to everybody who's tuned in. Don't forget, another way to help out the platform too is mypillow.com, promo code Oreo, guys. God bless you all. We'll see you guys here in a couple hours, and take care, guys.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed.